Hi, and welcome back to All Things Retail Webcast with Retail Pro. Hello, I'm Rick Fuentes. Today, we will be looking at the multi-language and multi-currency capabilities Retail Pro provides, giving you the benefit to expand your operations, tailor to foreign customers, or open stores beyond borders. Meet Alexandra. She's a retailer moving up in the world. She opened her first store, her second store, and then a few more. She has good customer traffic, and sales are going well. In fact, very well. And she asks herself, what can I do to take my business to the next level? Well, maybe one of her stores receives a lot of foreign tourists, and she wonders how she can make their shopping experience better. Or maybe she has an opportunity to open a store across the border. So she starts to contemplate how she could achieve this. She knows she needs a point-of-sale solution that can handle it, like Retail Pro, and being a savvy retailer that she is, she needs to do her homework. So if she decides to open a store across the border, here are a few things she needs to consider. She needs to understand the business laws and practices of the country. Are there any specific banking and taxation laws? For example, some countries require a fiscal printer at point of sale while others do not. She needs to understand the cultural differences and if they could affect the viability of her business. She will need to research the culture surrounding the products that she sells and make sure there's a need for them. She must take into consideration currency, language, and social interaction. A newcomer potentially could experience some difficulty adapting into a foreign business community. She also needs to understand the country's political environment. It's best to work within a country that has a stable political and economic system. She should look for a trusted contact, a friend, a local software provider like Retail Pro has around the world to guide her and assist her with local regulations. And she should get legal advice. Maybe a lawyer who's done work in the country that she's planning on doing business in, that has the knowledge and the skills to help her navigate the foreign environment. And she must have a software solution that is localized and certified in the country that she wishes to do business in, like Retail Pro provides. The last thing she wants is to have multiple silos, totally different systems forcing her to do currency math and consolidation of information externally. Therefore, she knows she needs a system like Retail Pro that can handle multi-language, multi-currency, taxes, consolidation, regardless of the country or region that she's in. So whether she tailors to foreigners accepting their currency or opens a store across the border, Retail Pro has her covered. Before diving into Retail Pro, allow me to point out some basics when it comes to multi-language and the possibility of expanding your operations across the border. First, the language, being able to communicate. Maybe your store is in a Chinese, Italian, Spanish, or Korean community, where the vast amount of associates predominantly are more fluent in another language, or if you're opening a store in a foreign country that speaks a different language. It's beneficial to have a system which can be translated into the native language of the country or the language the associate speaks, and Retail Pro has been translated into multiple languages: French, Italian, Russian, Spanish, Chinese, and many more. Especially if you're opening a store across the border. Most likely you'll need to hire local associates, and there's a good chance English will be their second language, or they won't speak English at all. Therefore, in order for the associate to understand what they see and read on the screen, whether it's domestic or abroad, it should or can be in their language, and Retail Pro offers you precisely that. Secondly, if you've ever pondered on the possibility of opening a store across the border, for those of you who are not part of the Retail Pro family and are interested, Retail Pro is truly global to the core, with installations in 128 plus countries. Whether you have Retail Pro or not, and you're going somewhere, we're already there. So if you plan on taking on the world, Retail Pro grows as you grow, and will help you get there. So let's dive in and start with multi-language. As I mentioned, Retail Pro is translated into multiple languages, including Western European, double byte, and Cyrillic character sets. And to change the language, it's as easy as clicking a button. When you click on the Retail Pro button here on the bottom right, you get a menu. And one of the options is language. You scroll down and select the language of choice. And that's it. Fast and simple. You'll notice several languages repeat and or have variations. For example, Portuguese for Portugal and Portuguese for Brazil, Spanish for Latin America and Spanish for Europe or for Spain. This is because every language has its deviations. Each country or region may have their own dialect or distinctions. The same word may have a different meaning or association depending on where you are. Even in English, there are words in the UK which mean something totally different than in the US. For example, trolley. In the US, it's a public transportation streetcar, like the ones you would see in San Francisco. But in the UK, trolley is a shopping cart. Chips in the US are potato chips or corn chips. In the UK, chips are a chunkier version of what we call fries. And specifically in our specialty retail arena, pants. Pants in the US are trousers, while in the UK they refer to underwear. Therefore, Retail Pro provides the means to edit or tweak the language file or create your own localized language set. So I'll click on Spanish, and as you can see, Retail Pro is now completely in Spanish. If I go to New Transaction, all the fields in the point of sale and throughout the system have been translated into Spanish. So if I go to Store Ops, as you can see the menu here, Merchandise or Employees, all in Spanish. You go back to point of sale. It's that simple. Retail Pro provides you the flexibility and the benefit to quickly change from one language set to another, with the ability to localize the language and add more languages if needed, making Retail Pro truly a global solution. Now let's take a look at foreign currency. To use or to accept a foreign currency at point of sale, you first need to go to the Retail Pro back office to enter the foreign currency and the exchange rate. Exchange rates are the amount of one currency you can exchange for another. In System Preferences, area where you configure the Retail Pro back office, the currency option consists of a series of tables. Here you will enter the currencies that you will be accepting at the point of sale. You can enter as many as you want, all the currencies that you accept. On the bottom, you enter the denomination, the bills and coins for that currency. And in the middle here, you enter the actual exchange rate. You'll notice I have two exchange rates with different dates. This is because currency exchange rates float. They change continually based on a multitude of factors. They can also be pegged or fixed to another currency. They still float, but they move in tandem with the currency to which they are pegged. Therefore, as of this date, this is the exchange rate. Retail Pro then uses the information to calculate how much you would need to take and give in a foreign currency that you're accepting, based off of the base currency, which in my case is the US dollar. Let's create a transaction and tender with a foreign currency. So now that I've entered the foreign currency and the exchange rate, I can create a new transaction. Let's say the customer purchased a dress. I'll scan in the item. The customer owes me $260.31. I'll tender the transaction, and I'll click on Tender Type to choose the payment method of foreign currency. I can accept any of the foreign currencies that I've set up in the system. The system tells me how much I owe in dollars, what the exchange rate is, and how much they owe me in the foreign currency, which in this case is the British pound. Let's say they gave me 205 pounds. I'll take that, and now I need to give $5.79 in change. However, I can give the change in foreign currency also. The system calculates how much I would need to give back. Therefore, the system tells me how much I would need to take in foreign currency and in dollars, and how much I have to give back in foreign currency and in dollars. I update the transaction, click on OK, and I'm done. I've created a transaction successfully with a foreign currency. So there you have it, multi-language and multi-currency in Retail Pro. Thanks for joining, and see you next time in another webcast of all things retail with Retail Pro. Happy retailing, and éxito en sus negocios.